In 1964, a church called Central Baptist Church of Anaheim had a vision to start a new church, a mission church here in Huntington Beach. It certainly seemed to be a courageous undertaking. 1964, Huntington Beach, as it's been described to me, was very much an unreached place. If you see the old pictures, this is kind of out in the boonies. It was very much a pioneering effort in what was, of course, a bit of a wild oil town. Huntington Beach then, and maybe even now, still has a little bit of an edge to it. So it really was a pioneering effort to reach people with the gospel here in Huntington. They started with 2 families, 13 people, and Wednesday night prayer services in one of the homes. The first worship service by Central Baptist was held on November 1st, 1964, in the Rancho View School, which no longer exists. I'm told Rancho View was where Lowe's Hardware is, down the street here on Warner Avenue. The first pastor really was a courageous and nearly miraculous man because he had cancer of the larynx, and in his early sermons could barely be heard by the congregation. He was followed by a pastor named Pastor Nutting, and under his leadership the church grew to about 100 people in attendance. Around that time, during a visitation night, the church met a man who gave them a life-changing opportunity. He gave them the opportunity to purchase 5 acres worth of prime real estate in Huntington Beach, California, and that's where our campus sits right now. Think about that. They met a dude on visitation. Hey, you guys have a church, you want to buy 5 acres? You know who's giving you that chance today? Nobody. In the late 60s, the church put 2 temporary buildings on this property and then built its first auditorium, which is now where our children and students meet. At that time, a pastor from Texas named Thomas Ray came to the church, and the people who were there at that time described a period of really wonderful growth. Around that time, Pastor Ray's health started to fail, and he felt that a new style and kind of leadership was needed not only for the church, but in his own life. And he resigned, and that led my pastor, Dr. Bruce Melton, to come here. Pastor Melton had been a music professor and a music minister at Baptist Bible College in Springfield, Missouri. And some people thought in the beginning that maybe the man leading music should just keep his hymn book, and then they heard him preach. He was a brilliant and gifted communicator of the Word of God. Pastor Melton served the church as senior pastor for 28 years. Under his tenure, a lot of construction was done. He built the worship center that we currently meet in, and under his leadership, Liberty Christian flourished as well, and in fact built the 3-story gymnasium building in the back of our campus. I came to Pacific Coast Baptist Bible College in San Dimas, California, and started looking for a church that had or wanted to start a Spanish ministry. The church was very healthy and strong at that point. I was welcomed immediately just as a college student. The church then, very different from the church now. We had 2 grand pianos, we had a pipe organ, we had a large choir that wore robes. Every single Sunday there was a massive pulpit in the center of the platform. Very, very different season and church culture at that time. But at the heart of it all was a desire to communicate the gospel of Jesus Christ, and God honored that across all of those years and all of those changes. And in 2005, Pastor Melton had actually called and asked if I would consider interviewing for the senior pastorate position. He was retiring, and in the beginning of the summer of 2005, after a lot of conversations, a lot of interviews, a lot of prayer, I would accept a call from the church to become their new senior pastor. Paul in 1 Corinthians says that there remain faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. And I think that really tells the story of Central Baptist, which became CrossPoint Church. A little group of people exercised a great deal of faith to come to Huntington Beach, buy 5 acres, build these buildings, which we now enjoy. The reason they did it is because they wanted to offer the hope of the gospel. We've been blessed in so many ways. God has provided such a platform that we really, most of us alive now, did little or nothing to achieve. now we can go forward with the same confidence of the gospel that brought our founders here. We can extend that same hope using their faithfulness, their sacrifice, their generosity as our strength, as our impetus, as our blessing to extend the hope of the gospel to a whole new generation. So as I look at the next 20 years, we are going to continue, and we should, improving this existing campus, not to make it a Six Flags Over Jesus cruise ship kind of operation, but to make it safe and to make it very, very useful to teach the gospel to the next generation. I'm thinking specifically about our children's ministry space, which is dated because it was built a long time ago. It's useful, it's safe now, but we can improve it and make it better to set this church up for the next 50 or 60 years of its life. We have the capacity to do that. I think we should do that. Beyond that, I think we should prayerfully explore the opportunity of doing for other congregations what was once done for us. We don't want the gospel to stop on this corner. The gospel reached us on its way to someone else. So we should continue to go passionately into missions work, sending and commissioning missionaries, and also we should prayerfully explore and ask God to send us worthy young couples, worthy young preachers, as He once did, so that we can plant new churches that are birthed out of or financially supported by our church, as Central Baptist Church of Anaheim did for us 60 years ago. That way, that domino effect of the gospel reaching one person can continue to make the exponential generational impact that brought us all here together as the church family that God has constituted on this corner in this season of CrossPoint's life. If we can stay focused on faith, hope, and love, remembering that the greatest of these truly is love, I believe the future of CrossPoint Church is brighter now than it ever has been.